Are you guys able to hear me? Especially the folks in the last row. Just checking after such a beautiful, sumptuous lunch, right? I think the session has two primary challenges. My session, the first particular challenge is the hall is full of people and we got some very good lunch which was served and people walk in. As with any session, when the first session which lunch is heavy, the second session becomes little tough. Similar challenge I have is with what Sir just spoke. I was just kind of taken back a few decades into one of my costing classes where I will kind of, with all rapt attention, look at, as if you just close your eyes and you're in a shop floor and you kind of see how the entire workflow is. And it's no longer a theoretical costing session, it's a practical session, right? And I would like to probably get a quick round of applause for how he explained the whole context, right? So for me, with such a, I think, level setting which has been done, I hope to live up to some expectations of what I'm going to be talking now. With that said, thank you so much for having me here to kind of share a few of my pieces of knowledge. So primarily, what I will kind of contextualize today is things coming out of probably 2-3 things. One is basically a bit of learning I do out of my own curiosity, trying to understand what's the general landscape in technology and stuff like that. Second, a bit of my own experiences of what I typically trying to do, use of technology side. Last, definitely not the least, what we do on the hiring side. What kind of talent are we looking for? And when people are hiring, what kind of talent are they looking for? And how the technological tectonic shift, what kind of impact it has. So kind of trying to bring all of that. With that, the topic given is upskilling, and I have kind of highlighted the word challenge. I'll try to focus on these two fundamentally, right? So I just looked up, I maybe Googled or did some other thing, contextual setting. So I looked at two words. The words given is upskill and challenge, right? So upskill fundamentally just said additional skill, which means wherever we are, whatever skills we got until now, it's probably not sufficient. It needs an additional skilling, right? Then next came the word challenge. Challenge had different meaning sets. The one which really kind of made me look up and look at it from a context of 3 different perspectives. One is, it's got a competitive context to it. The challenge what's given. And it kind of is measuring the superiority in terms of your own ability and strength, right? Sounds too much of English, right? So let's look at what challenge looks like. Don't count the number of zeros. I have counted it. It's 12. Right? This particular number sent shock waves world over sometime recently. What was the shock wave? This. Ooh. Finding tiny pecks of green was so difficult, and this is nothing but the American Stock Exchange. You see only red out here. The only blue which came was next this. Now, well, that is challenge. So fundamentally what really happened is the entire, I think there was also a joke saying that ChatGPT will come and people will lose their jobs. Version 1, ChatGPT will come and people will lose their job. Version 2, and suddenly version 3 is DeepSeek came and ChatGPT lost its job. Unfortunately, that's the pace at which we are all working on the tech side of it. And what I tried to do out here is try to kind of contextualize few things around what are the typical steps you will need from an upskilling point of view. I'll try to be slightly generic, don't want to have very technical specific type of thought processes. One of the things we need to fundamentally look at is building a sense of awareness. The awareness in this conference's theme apparently is about AI awareness, right? If we do that, at least some 50% of people are kind of now thinking about AI in many of the things we do. I think the job is done. The second part is move from awareness to a bit of learning, and learning from the context of analytical tools and courses, I think then we'll kind of understand what to learn and where to, part of it. From a theoretical thing, hopefully some of us will at least move to the experience part of it, the practical side. The experience could also lead to a self-learning contributing to an implementation kind of a learning. What you have learned yourself, how do you impact others? Eventually, once you have kind of learnt it all, you have to stay updated. This is the broad context what I want to quickly cover. Now with the first one, this is a level of ChatGPT awareness. I didn't make it up. That guy there at the corner, Mint, they are telling this. They did a sample survey and looks like this is the level of awareness about ChatGPT. How many people here knew about ChatGPT? Raise your hands. Okay, wonderful.
What's the expansion?
How many people have used ChatGPT, being honest about it? Okay. Very strange that I see that more hands are coming in the front rows. I hope backbenchers are still awake. Thank you guys. Okay. So fundamentally, it's all about the use case that first we hear about it, then we start using about it, then the technical discovery kind of comes in, right? Out here, from an awareness stage, we got to move to what you typically have the next stage. That is use of tools, right? There are plenty of tool use cases out here. Maybe something as simple from a tool and certification point of view, I even looked at a basic Excel kind of now being looked into an advanced Excel. From there, advanced Excel moving to, can advanced Excel have something more of a AI, deep learning, what sir mentioned, LLM and those kind of things involved. Now, I think the lines are kind of blurring as to who are you? Are you a finance guy or a tech guy, or will the tech guy come into finance domain, or will the finance guy go into tech domain? Like many of us have probably have seen, you have a functional consultant in a organization like Mr. Gopal's organization like Oracle or an SAP, you have a functional consultant, right? So typically nowadays we are seeing engineers coming onto the data side. Now that's also an interesting development what we are kind of seeing. So that's the thing around various tools and certifications which we kind of need to look into. But honestly, nothing can beat the real hands-on experience. This is a personal experience of what I kind of went through around 3 weeks ago, very fresh in memory. I was on a call with one of my clients in the US. We were using our Google Meet, and suddenly in the meeting invite, I see a fourth participant come in. Generally 2 or 3 people, and fourth participant, there is no name, no face, nothing. And it just said read.ai. I was actually very curious at the very beginning. I said, hey, what is this, some sort of a CIA, FBI stuff? So who is this guy? He said, that's AI. And the best part is, at the end of the call, we all said goodbye. The best part is, I had not made any notes. He obviously did not make any notes. This AI thing just sent an email. I clicked on it, and it had made everything. The right side corner, I don't know how many of you can actually see that. It immediately gave a minutes of the meeting. He said who started the call, who ended the call, what were the top 3 topics discussed, who agreed to what, who disagreed to what. It even had a tone kind of a thing. What was the tone of the call? Was the tone about larger engagement, disagreement, way forward? It had everything what you can't even think of. Forget what you can think of. So this is the world we live in, wherein even meetings are now intruded by tech. For good reason, I guess, for a good measure. Moving on, in terms of, I think, the broader sense of certifications and courses, I'm sure you have this skipped. I guess that's not AI. From a certification and courses point of view, from a content learning point of view, when I was actually thinking about this session, I was thinking about the tectonic shift that happened to the CMA professionals after the invent of GST. I have seen CMAs come in such a, I would say, big force into GST related practices, consulting. Simply the entire landscape of GST is reasonably dominated by CMA professionals. Maybe the institute, we all should ideally think as to if AI and the kind of technical, whatever, the technological churn which is happening, is that a next second wave, as typically what we call in industry wave 2, wave 3, is this another wave for us to leapfrog and try and do something wherein, as Sir was mentioning, I love copying your thoughts, Sir. As he was saying, can we mix manufacturing with tech? Can we mix costing with the latest of the tech and come up with courses and keep our folks so updated that we'll really leapfrog and become some of the best consultant possibly in the industry, right? With that, a particular thing said done, I also want to bring in some of the hiring related requirements which we get. Recently, Wipro was kind of talking to us, having to hire a lot of folks. They said, you get us the right talent, we will skill them. So even industry is kind of open. Either you come with the skill, you're very welcome. You could also do another way that you come with an open mind and you probably have an opportunity to learn. And sometimes it's all about unlearning and relearning pathways as well, right? About the concept of networking and staying updated, which is also sequentially important in the dynamic tech world that we are in. I was just thinking maybe one of the quick references I can make, I think that is the last slide I was kind of coming to, is this guy, Andrew, in case anyone wants to kind of follow him on X, which used to be called Twitter. He's like the leader in this space on a worldwide level. He runs quite a few, I would say, organizations deeply involved in AI. I guess with that, I'm reasonably done and kind of set the context for the next set of conversation that we would have. Thanks for the opportunity.